I don't know if you want to hear this, but you don't need those lights. They're overrated. And I'm here to tell you, who cares? I've also teamed up with NOVSIGHT. We're going to be upgrading the light bar on the GX, and that video starts right now. In today's video, we're going to be installing and upgrading my light pods on my roof rack. I'm going to be replacing the Auxbeams and replacing them with the NOVSIGHT 4.5-inch light pods. This is their Pro series. This on paper should be an upgrade over my Auxbeams. Let's jump right in, get them unboxed. Let's take a closer look and see what comes inside. I don't know about you guys, when I get stuff that gets sent over, especially a product, stickers are always nice to have. They give you two different covers. You have the amber covers and you also have the black covers to help protect the lens right behind the pods themselves. Here you go. Give you guys a more close-up look at these. And here is the pods themselves. All right, so to remove the cover here, if you want to keep it clear, they just unclip and they come right off. And there's the clear lens. This is their Halo series. That means that the lights around here, the bezel, they basically will light up and you can do multiple variations of modes. You can change them from that, I guess, fits your preferences. The lighting output should be pretty decent as well, but I guess we'll know that once we put them onto the GX. What's funny is my buddy M, he saw these, I sent him pictures and he's like, bro, these look like the Wall-E from Disney, and I'm not gonna lie, he is spot on. This is definitely Wall-E. I got everything all laid out for you guys so you guys can visually see what I have planned to put on top of the roof rack for its replacement. So again, amber's on the outside, center's gonna be clear, and of course amber back on the outside there. I might end up taking these two back off, but I'll kind of play with that configuration, but at least for now, you guys can visually see what I'm talking about in terms of putting everything together. Let's talk about how I'm going to get these all set up and wired to the GX. So each and every single box comes with their own wire bundles. So again, they're all going to be DT 4-pin Dutch connections. And then you have your own separate source here for power and ground. And then of course you have the switch that goes to the light pods. Unfortunately, I have to splice everything off from this end over here because this whole entire section I won't be using for the install. I went ahead and did some research. I searched high and low for a basic, just a plug and play wire system that I can do 4 or 6, and I can just daisy chain every single one of the pods together. But there wasn't one. I did find one through Baja, but it was like $170 for a 6-pod connection, and I was not willing to dish out that amount to do that when I can just do it myself. So that means I'm going to splice this all up and make my connections from all 8 pods and make it into one plug source or one wire source to run that back over to my switch panel. I had every intention to paint these black to make them not stand out as much as they do, because I don't know how I feel about this gray ring out here. I was able to get the bezel ring off from the pod. So there are 2 hex bolts right back over here. Took them off, and once I got that undone, I grabbed one of my prying tool, which is basically a screwdriver, wedged between the bezel here, and just notched it. And once I was able to get it in there, I was able to pry this off. So it is held on by some glue from what it looks like. So this is what really was keeping this on the pod, but once I was able to separate that, this came right off. With the ring off, the next step is we're going to prep for paint. I'm going to grab my 2500 wet sandpaper. I'm going to just scuff around the ring. The idea here is you want to have the paint, when you spray it on, to tack and also stick onto. Because if you don't do this process here, the paint's going to basically flake off, and you don't want that to be the case. So once I get this all set up, I'm going to basically give them a wash, put them all in the bucket, rinse them off, and once I'm done with that, the next step is we're going to prep the surface. I'm going to grab some acetone. So I'm just going to use this clean strip acetone that we see here. It works pretty fast, dries really fast. And then I'm going to use some Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch 2x Ultra Cover Paint Plus Primer. I'll probably apply maybe 2 to 3 coats on these rings. And that should be more than enough to get them ready. With our rings fully dried, we can now move on to the next process, and that's going to be the acetone. Oh, you know what, guys? I forgot to mention, the rings, they're metal. Next up is paint. Here's my choice of paint. You want to make sure you give this a nice, good shake. PPE all the time, every time, and also make sure you're in a nice, well-ventilated area before you paint. The first coat of paint that I'm applying is just a very thin layer, just to allow the paint to kind of stick onto the surface. And I'm keeping myself about a good 10-12 inches away from the area that I'm painting to make sure I don't overlap, or not just overlap, but also have overspray. Our paint is fully dried up and cured, so we are good to go. We can go ahead and start putting these back onto the pods, but they came out not too bad. Take a look, you guys. They're done. Everything's all fully assembled. But man, look at that. Personally, I think they came out great. Not that I wasn't okay, I'm lying to myself. I wasn't a fan of the silver or gray bezel. The black just looks so much more cleaner. Maybe I'm just being biased because I already have those right there. And thanks to M, I don't have to worry about these looking like Wally. And this is what they look like with the amber covers on. So amber's on the outside, and then they'll be clear on the center, or I can put maybe one more set of ambers and make it just one set of clears in the center, but I'll play with that configuration. But this is what they look like, right? Looks pretty cool, pretty clean. All right, let's move on to the next process. With the old light bar removed, you guys can take a look. It is just zip ties, zip ties, zip ties, keeping everything nice and organized. I'm going to quickly remove all these zip ties, remove the hardware, because I'm going to reuse these existing hardware for the new NOVSIGHT Halo series. Get this crossbar prepped and ready for the new pods. Zip ties removed. You guys can now see what this looks like. It's a mess, but it's still easier to manage as opposed to having individual wires hooking up to that into one. So this is I believe this is a 6-pod LED harness, and that hooks up every single one of these because I have 12. I ran a splitter, as you guys can tell. I went from 2 of the harnesses and then back over to 1 and then back over to my switch panel. Our brackets are all mounted. That wasn't fun at all, but it's done. Moving on to the next thing, I'm prepping the crossbar for mounting. I did contemplate about making a wiring system for the pods. However, I was able to reach out to the community back over on Instagram, and luckily the community reached back. Take a look at my new wiring harness, and it's made from Osage Offroad. Just take a look at the attention to the detail. I mean, it just oozes with professionalism. Everything is labeled for you, so you know exactly where they go. But yeah, these guys reached out to me. I'm super happy, super grateful. If you guys are looking for customized wiring harnesses, hit up Osage Offroad. I'll leave their info down in the description along with their Instagram account. But these guys reached back over to me and they saved my lighting setup. Could not be more than grateful. So again, Osage Offroad, you guys are great. You guys are awesome. And thank you for getting this back over to me. But let's dive back into the video and get this guy hooked up to the pods. Crossbars and pods are fully mounted. I did the best that I could to get this fully lined up to where everything was nice and even, hopefully. Well, the best that I can, because I just basically eyeballed it. Because if we take a look over here, Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good, right? Everything's nice and spaced out. Next process, getting all the connections hooked up to the light pod. But take a look at this Osage Offroad harness. It's just a thing of beauty, man. The only downside to this install is I was able to fit only 7 out of the 8 pods onto the crossbar. So I kind of overshot the measurements, but that's all right. But it just means that I have to either leave all the covers on or take them off, because then it's it's an odd number. So I can't just take off 1 or 2. It'll make it look kind of funny. So let's see how quickly I can put this all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Look at that, guys. Nice, clean, and seamless. The way I love it. I have one that's left over here. What I want to do is I'll just get a cover for this and get this covered up to prevent any kind of water damage going into that. But other than that, super stoked with how this came out. Very clean. Osage Offroad, you guys are the dude. Brother, take a look at this. I don't know, man. This is freaking sweet, dude. The way how everything just came out, the flow of the wiring, and just using the zip ties along with that, it just cleans everything up. It just looks freaking spectacular. I'm telling you guys, man. Osage Offroad, hit them up, because this is legit. All right, man. Enough yapping. Let's get this back onto the roof rack. Wires are already sent through. We have our DRL, negative, main, and also our DRL connector. So we're gonna hop on the main first. All right, let's find my negative, which is right here. So DRL connector, let's find a home for this. And last but not least is the DRL connection, which is this green one right over here. Make our connection. All right, so before I put everything back on, let's make sure it turns on. I don't know what this is, why it's doing it this way. I know there's like 7 dynamic modes you can choose from, but it's just not, I don't know. It's possessed. That's all I can think of. It's possessed. Honestly, I was going through the buttons on my switch panel to get this to work, and it just didn't do nothing with that. Went back to the books, went back over to the box, trying to find and scour through for a manual, no luck there. Went back onto YouTube like everybody else does, watching videos, and I finally landed on a video from NOVSIGHT about how to program the lights. So now that we're back in the vehicle, NOVSIGHT mentioned that in order for us to reprogram the lights, you have to reset that. So by doing so, everything is turned on, including the lights. This is the button that you press when you cycle through the 7 dynamic modes. So if I press hold on to this for 5 seconds, that should in theory reset the lights. So if we come out and take a look, everything works now. So now the lights are reset, and I'm gonna go and show you guys what the 7 dynamic modes, what that looks like. You guys are able to see what it looks like with the amber covers on. Let's see what it looks like without the amber covers on. We'll go from the amber covers from this to this. Gonna give you guys a little bit of a close-up look at the pods without the amber covers on. It actually looks pretty good in my opinion. I didn't think it would look this good. And the cool part about this is when you go through and change the modes, you can go from this kind of a super white color back over to the amber color. So going through the sequence of the modes, you can have that option and also that flexibility to put it in whatever modes that you desire. Let's turn off the GX. And that's what they look like without the halo lights turned on. Quite honestly, I'm very partial to the amber, but this doesn't look too bad either. I mean, what do you guys think? Are you guys team amber or team clear? We're gonna jump into some nighttime shots and see what that looks like. Stay tuned, we're gonna hop into that next right now. Sad to say, and I hate to see you guys go, but this is going to put a wrap to the install. In my honest opinion, this is 100% an upgrade over my Auxbeam. So I want to give a huge shout out to NOVSIGHT and their team for hooking us up, giving the GX a different look and also a different vibe all together. You don't know what it means to me to have you watch my videos to help give me the motivation that I need to keep on creating the content that I do enjoy making. So thank you. Let me know what you guys think about this. Is this an upgrade or was this a complete waste of time? Either ways, put that down in the comments and make sure you guys like the video, comment again down below, and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out, guys.